Alright, so I've been playing some of the Back for Blood beta recently, and recently as in it came out like yesterday, and I'd like to share my thoughts on it since they're pretty strong thoughts about the game, needless to say. Like, I normally wouldn't make a completely unscripted video like this, but there's things that I feel like I need to say. So, first of all, let me just say that I've actually played this game two times now. The initial alpha back some months ago, and now with the early access beta. So I have a cumulative 5 hours in the game, and yeah, that's like 2.5 hours from the alpha, 2.5 hours from yesterday, honestly. So yeah, while my judgments are a bit early right now, I definitely feel like they're still valid because early judgments is when you determine to refund a game on Steam and when you determine if a game is even worth your time in the first place. So, yeah, while you can discredit some of the stuff I'm saying to inexperience, there's some merit here, I feel like. And I will also say that in this beta, the versus is definitely a big aspect of it, and I really didn't touch that, even though that's something that the devs are pushing. I'm mainly focusing on the campaign right now. So getting into like the actual sort of review, the good parts are that the characters are really fun. I like the way that they're written. I like the idea of having these character specific abilities that you can, really really determine your playstyle around. You have Mom as a sort of support character, you have Walker as kind of a damage dealer, and, Hoffman gives ammo to the team and stuff like that. And I think that's really cool, There's team composition there, and you can pretty much like play the way that you want to play, It's not like I'm going to be making a lot of comparisons to Left 4 Dead because this is pretty much a spiritual successor. But yeah, it's not like Left 4 Dead where your contribution to the team is pretty much determined by how much you kill shit, So I really think that's a good thing. The guns having numbers now is definitely super fun. Like, I am a number slut. I absolutely love Borderlands and Payday because I just like seeing the numbers go fucking burr. So when I can, build a gun up with attachments and stuff, I think that's super fun. And yeah, kind of as a side note, because I have a list of topics here that I'm already messing up. The game seems to have expanded a lot since the alpha. Like, they added a lot of new things since the alpha, and I really like that. There's, a whole new hub world. There's definitely the push toward replayability with the inclusion of Versus, since the campaign was the only thing given in the alpha. And yeah, no, they really expanded the game, but I really don't feel like it's refined, but I'll get to that later. Right now, I will say that the concept of decks, which was in the alpha, is also super interesting. I think it's really cool that they're going for the replayability route in terms of, your characters do different things with every different playthrough. But I will also say that the way they're handling cards right now is very questionable. The cards that you start with, at least in the beta, and I really hope this is subject to change. The cards that you start off with right now, they're very boring. It's literally just number upgrades, You get 10% more ammo, you get 15 more health, you reload 20% faster. It's not exactly the most entertaining thing and not really what I want to see. It's just numbers, I want to see some crazy shit, Like, there's like some glimpses of it with the starter deck, melee kills that heal you, critical health kills heal you, and stuff like that. Obviously, it doesn't all have to be healing, but still, yeah, it definitely feels lackluster at the start, and you need to sink time into the game. And, bringing up a time sink, I think that's a good time to bring up that, like, the way it plays, it's very fun as a zombie shooter. It doesn't feel as fast-paced, or at least how I played it, it doesn't feel as fast-paced, where you pretty much just blitz through zombies like in Left 4 Dead, and, you go on a one-man rampage. You can play, or well, it seems like you're supposed to play it slowly and tactically and cautiously, And I really find that fun and satisfying. So, you know, yeah, the game encourages you to play more, to unlock new cards for your decks, and then, you know, you kind of build a deck, and then, you know, the deck that you have gives you random cards in gameplay, so that's really neat, you know? But this is all stuff from the alpha, and, you know, they kind of touched it up. The alpha had some issues, but that's not what I'm going to get on here. The main thing that I'm here to complain about is the difficulty. And I know that bringing up difficulty in the gaming community is definitely a questionable thing because, you know, the obvious argument is get good. And, you know, the disclaimer I had at the start was I only have 2.5 hours in this game twice. These are basically two different games, I'd feel. But, man, it doesn't feel right. The game just, it's so wrong. Like, my issue with the difficulty is that its difficulty spikes. And I will say that I played this on veteran or normal mode, or, you know, if you don't want to call it normal mode, I played it on the middle difficulty in the difficulty select. There's the easy one, the medium one, and the hard one. I picked the medium one. That's what veteran is. And, you know, I thought the game was intended to be played slowly and tactically. Like, there's a bit of a story here, but yeah, first playthrough on this recent beta, I got completely blasted because I thought that I could be Rambo, run forward, kill shit, and be a god. That was not the case, and, you know, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's how the game is, you know, trying to push your playstyle. So, you know, instead I started to hold back and, you know, be tactical and cautious in my second playthrough where I started shooting zombies from afar and double and triple check to make sure that everything was cleared out. And I will say, it's a different kind of fun, you know? You don't feel like the Rambo god, but you feel like a cleaner, you know? It's really pushing the fantasy that the game was trying to push, and the fact that you're quite literally cleaning up the streets to rebuild a community, or whatever the hell the trailer is trying to push for its stuff. But yeah, no, like, it feels good, you know? It feels good to never get touched, you know? To just go and clear out every zombie that you see. It's fun. But then the difficulty spikes come in, and that's artificial bullshit that just, it's pretty much made to kill you. Like ambushes and specials that pretty much two-touch you to death, like the bruisers and the boomers. Like, and, you know, I'm trying to play as slowly and tactically as possible. But when I get ambushed by these specials, and on top of that, common infected are surrounding me, so I can't really run away. I have to either clear the common infected and get hit by the special, or focus down the special and get drained down by the common. So it's like, it really, like, the ambushes feel like bullshit. It feels like Fire Emblem Three Houses maddening, you know? Like, you're trying to play this fun game, and then it just throws bullshit at you for artificial difficulty just to convince you that the game is hard. You know, it doesn't feel right. And this is the normal difficulty. Like, these ambushes are fucking brutal. And then on top of that, even if you survive the ambush, and, you know, you get downed or something, the game features the system that it calls trauma, which is just a permanent health loss. Like, whatever your max HP is, it's pretty much drained on every time you take a hit, and especially when you go down. So when you're playing perfectly, and, you know, I had like 115 max health for an example, and then all of a sudden I get double downed in an ambush, and now I have 53 max health, and I can't even heal it back. It fucking sucks, you know? Like, that doesn't feel fair to me. Because I played as cautiously as I could, but then as soon as I get ambushed, I'm done. So you need to have this godlike team composition and team communication in order to, like, just beat the game. And the issue is that when you get to a safe house, your max HP doesn't return. That trauma stays. The only way to recover trauma is using first aid cabinets, and first aid cabinets don't even spawn inside the safe house. The first aid cabinets are inside these stash rooms that you need a toolkit for. So then, you know, on top of that, why would I use one of my slots for anything that isn't a toolkit when a toolkit actively counteracts what I believe is the most unbalanced mechanic in the game, which is, you know, if you go down, you super die, you know? It's just a snowball effect of, you can play as perfectly as you want, but then once you get two-touched in an ambush to death, you're done, pretty much. And that health really isn't coming back because first aid cabinets are rare and costly. And going to like the team experience, it's like, it's such a far cry from what I got in Left 4 Dead. Like once again, in Left 4 Dead, you could pretend that you're Rambo, you can like go and blaze through the hordes, you know? But this game really sacrifices the individual experience for a team experience, and I hate that. Because, as an example of what I'm talking about, TF2 and Payday, they give you moments to shine as an individual. TF2, you can pick a class and do literally whatever with that class, but if you play that class well, you're contributing to the team. A scout can play team deathmatch and ignore the objective, but, you know, having dead people helps clear an objective. Soldiers could go rocket jump around and bomb whoever the fuck they want, and they're helping out the team. The Heavy and his fucking pocket medic girlfriend can go on a rampage and once again ignore the objective like everyone does in TF2, but chances are they'd still win the game because of that. You know, the spy can go harass that one engineer and pretend that he's a god, and harassing that one engineer is a good thing because the engineer is stopping the rest of your team, you know? Like, your individual stories in TF2 build up to a cohesive team experience and it feels fun. You go into Payday and it's the exact same thing, you know? Like if you stack up the bodies, then you're contributing to your team because there's less cops shooting at you so you can do the objective. So it's like, those are two games that do a really good job at like building up your individual experience and, you know, letting you have fun with it so you can achieve a common goal. Back 4 Blood doesn't do that. Back 4 Blood punishes you for trying to make your own story. Like, in Left 4 Dead, or really any zombie scenario, you know? It's like, you can run forward, you can be Rambo, you can go on a rampage, and if you get ambushed, you know, you kind of deserve it. And that's fair, you know? Like, that's perfectly fine. Because this happens in Left 4 Dead 2 also. But the issue is that, you know, once you go on that individual rampage or tear, you're permanently crippled in Back 4 Blood. And on top of that, you know, because the game wants you to play as such a cohesive team because of these ambushes, because of these overtuned specials that have an excessive amount of health, that hide their weak spots, that can pretty much two-touch you at any health value, God forbid that you're under 50 health, it's just, yeah, no, like, you have to play as a single unit, and I don't know if that's the experience I'm looking for. Like, I understand there's an audience for that, but at the same time, it's, you know, you can't play with random people online in matchmaking. It literally won't work out. And once again, this is the normal difficulty. A higher difficulty, I can't even imagine how that would work. But the lower difficulty, it shouldn't be necessary to move down to a lower difficulty because I want to play what the developers intended. And that should be the normal difficulty. On top of that, looking at the lower difficulty and actually, you know, well, not playing it myself, but watching my friends played it, who I played with, if that makes sense. The changes that they made in the easier difficulty are too overblown. You know, the first aid cabinets, before they were rare and costly, now the first aid cabinets both are more common by spawning inside the safe house. The trauma is both lessened and not permanent, as in the fact that when you get to a safe house, it reverts your trauma back, which it doesn't do in normal, by the way. And the first aid cabinets that can revert your trauma have 4 free uses instead of 1 in normal. In normal, you have to pick who gets their permanent health back, and the rest have to pay up in order to do the same. And then in the easier game mode, not only do you passively regenerate it when you get to the safe house, you find more cabinets, which gives everyone an opportunity to get it back. It's excessive, you know? Like, I think that trauma could be fun. I think that it could be a good thing. It's just that if I get hit, why am I losing permanent max HP? And if I go down, why am I even more crippled than before? And if I get to a safe house, why can't I recover? It's a safe house. The safe houses should have first aid cabinets in the first place, I feel like. So, it feels wrong to say this, but it really feels like the campaign, or at least a balance of it, was sacrificed for development in Versus. Because comparing this to the alpha that I played before, it feels the same. It feels like the game is fun until it isn't. Like, it's the same issues that I saw in the alpha, the same ambushes, the same overtuned specials. Like, there really wasn't a balance patch, and that's fine because it's still a beta. But, that means that the effort was spent, going from an alpha, which was essentially a proof of concept of the campaign, to a beta, which expanded the game but didn't refine it. Like, we have Versus, we have the hub world, we have guns with numbers, we have characters with abilities, and then and they're well written and fun, but the core gameplay feels flawed, at least in campaign. So, if they're really trying to push Versus, I get that, and it's a beta and they had to spend their time making the Versus system, and I get that, but man, I really hope that the campaign doesn't stay as it is, because it is frustrating. Like, the beta, or the entire game, I should say, shouldn't have an underdeveloped Versus. Like, I think they should be equals if this is what they're going for. But, man, the campaign just doesn't feel right now, and I really hope that they address that. Like, I get that a beta is still a beta, but I don't feel like spending $60 on a game that I've had 2 early accesses to should still feel like a gamble, because I don't know if they're going to fix this, And I'm sure that there's people out there who are thinking that this isn't a problem that needs to be fixed, but at the same time, this is the normal difficulty, Like, they're looking for a well-oiled, cohesive team of, like, pure fucking gamer, like, just gamer fuel or whatever, to even beat normal mode. Like, I'm struggling to get to, like, part 3 or part 4, or I don't even remember of Act 1, I should say. Like, I really hope that they do better in the release, but the experience is just completely lost on me, since I just have fun until I don't. And yeah, I get that my opinion is my own opinion, and I know that people are going to have fun, and that's great for them, and people are going to think that I'm bad for just complaining about difficulty, and that's fine, but the experience that I'm getting, at least coming from a Left 4 Dead background, isn't the experience that I want. Like, tactical, cautious gameplay with full fucking sweeps is satisfying, especially since you know how punishing trauma is. But then it's completely ruined by random ambushes that completely destroy you and pick you apart because of how punishing trauma is. Like, the game's difficulty is horribly inconsistent to the point where I feel like it's bullshit. Like, it's just fun until it isn't, and I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that, but that's how I feel about it. Like, there's so many good things about the game that's just drowned out by the one bad thing, but the issue is that the bad thing is the fucking gameplay. And while the background footage that I have for this video is probably really evident of suboptimal first-time game journalist tier gameplay, you can watch the full stream in the description below, and I actually even streamed my alpha gameplay too, so you can get the full experience of where my thoughts are coming from. But once again, if you think that these judgments are too, like, harsh or too rash because, it's literally day 2 of the beta at the time of release of this video, it's still valid judgments because of the fact that early judgments is how people work. Not everyone is willing to sit down and say, oh, I hope this game gets better. Because, call me impatient, but I'm of the strong opinion that if a game needs to take time to get better, then it's not a good game. First impressions are really important, and this is my second impression of the same issues that I saw in the alpha, where I just didn't have fun, not because of the difficulty itself, but because of difficulty spikes. It's not consistently hard, it's bullshit. That's what it is. So, unless the beta proves to me that things are going to change before the full release, this game isn't getting my $60. not for more than the 2 hours a Steam refund allows at least. Like, I really want this game to succeed. I seriously do. Because Left 4 Dead is a bunch of fun, especially when I've played it with my friends. But this game is just inherently frustrating. There's no fucking around in this game, you know? I can't just chill out and play with my friends on normal mode, you know? And that's my issue. It's normal mode. I shouldn't have to move to easy to have a fun, chill out experience, you know? Because I'm fairly confident in the fact that I am not completely incompetent at shooter games. I've played a fair amount in my time. Wow, I say it like a boomer. I've played a fair amount of shooter games myself, but like this game is just so frustrating because it teaches you a playstyle that you want to uphold, which is the slow, cautious, tactical gameplay where you never get hit and you can flex your 115 max HP, but then they completely ruin it by countering that exact same gameplay with an ambush, but rushing forward isn't really any better because you need to play with your team. So there's just so many things wrong, I feel like. I'm struggling to get my thoughts across right now. Like, I'm pretty much rambling at this point since I've run out of topics to address on my script in quotation marks. But yeah, as it is right now, the game isn't fun. It feels like bullshit. And yeah, I don't know. Like, as much as I want to give the game a third chance, I'm going to be forcing myself to play throughout this beta, both the early access beta and the open beta that's coming out on the 12th or something. But I really hope that they address these issues, because if they don't, I'm not sure that this game is worth my money or my time. Because right now, it's more frustrating than it is fun. And that's just really upsetting for a game that I believed was supposed to be the spiritual successor of Left 4 Dead. So, yeah, call me a scrub, call me bad, I understand, you know, but I think this early opinion is somewhat validated. But yeah, either way, thanks for watching. I guess this is a new format of video, I don't know. I just felt so strongly about this game, and specifically what it did wrong, that I don't know. I just want to get my thoughts out there. Like, feel free to scream at me, feel free to dislike, I understand completely, but I don't know. I think something needs to change. Yeah, like, I'm just not having fun as it is right now, and I can't even come up with an outro, so thanks for watching. Also, this is after I recorded everything, but I will say, give the beta a shot, you know? The devs are looking for feedback, and while mine is negative, yours might not be. So, I genuinely want you to search up the game. I unfortunately don't have a site, but I'll put it in the description, and there is an open beta on the 12th. So please, if you want to see this game succeed, you know, feel free to argue with me, but also play the game yourself and leave your own opinion. You know, one, because I'm challenging you and my opinion is always correct, and two, because, you know, the devs want to hear what you have to say, and I feel like my frustration is still valid, even though this is a lot of gamer rage. So, sign up for the open beta. It starts on the 12th, and, you know, the devs definitely want to hear what you have to say. It's the reason it's an open beta. So yeah, actual outro. Bye.